Yo, what is going on Instagram? We are back. Another episode of Muscle Bully Mondays. You already know what time it is, man. This is episode 10. Today's guest, we got Fred Duran, all the way from the West Coast, Primoline Kennels, producer, owner, GrCh Dully. This man's got 15 years in the bully world plus. Uh, It's gonna be a good one, man. This guy's got a lot of information. He's been around for a long time. He produces beautiful dogs, and we're gonna get straight to it, man. Episode 10, Muscle Bully Mondays. You already know what time it is. What's up, Team X Dog? If you in the building, let us know, because we are live today. For those of y'all that's just joining for the first time, if you have any questions, if you see the question mark at the bottom, if you don't mind, put your questions in there. Makes it easier for us to answer every question that you have. What's going on, Stan?
What's up, man? Muscle Bully Mondays. As always, I'm back. I'm back in commission. Man, I was out last week pretty bad, but it's all good. Yeah, I didn't know that when you actually updated your phone, if you had, like I had fixed my screen, I didn't know when you updated your phone that, Apple goes, I don't recognize it. So you have no control over your phone.
Oh, man.
So that was a challenging moment, but we're here in the building, and tonight is very exciting because we have a special guest. By the name of Fred Duran, as you mentioned earlier, and this guy is very knowledgeable, to say the least.
Yeah, man. I've been I guess you could say researching, catching up,
Yeah.
He's got a lot of content on YouTube, and I just been watching a lot, man. He's very, very informational. He's been around for a long time.
Yep.
He's a very to the standard breeder. Like he tries to hone in and keep that going. Yeah.
I think he goes above and beyond standards. Like he's not just hits the standards. Like he really, when you listen to him talk and the way he analyzes how he breeds, it's that next level shit, man. It's just really next level. He really cares about the longevity and health of the dog and the dog's overall quality of life. And we are restocking new prototype 3.5s. I actually got word that they should be shipping out the 3.5 prototypes, and then we're going to be doing pre-sales. Q4 is going to be big for us, man. And anybody knows about Q4, that is the fourth quarter in the calendar year. I know in the music industry it's a big deal, and in business it's a big deal. It's when most companies are just trying to close out their year heavily. And of course, we got a contest, we got giveaways going tonight. But if you're just tuning in for the giveaways, you're missing out on the biggest prize ever, which is the knowledge and the value that we're providing you in these episodes.
Yeah, I'm reaching out. He should be sending a request here in a minute. He said he would be ready. He's on the West Coast, so the time frame is different. So he might just be a couple minutes behind. We'll see.
But hey, listen, if you want to get in this contest, go ahead and say add me, and we'll go ahead and get you added now.
Yeah, don't forget also, we give away.
Here's the thing too. These giveaways are giveaways, all right? We want to make sure everybody has the opportunity to win. If you've won within the 30 days in any of the contests, from X-Dog to Muscle Bully, if you won twice and you hit us up and we accidentally select you, then and you're complaining, you're just not going to be involved in any more contests. Like, I don't want to be an asshole about it, but y'all make this shit not fun. Like, when you do that shit and you're like, like, I won 4 times and I'm complaining. Like, listen, it's an instant. You're not going to be part of any more giveaways. We're trying to help everybody out, man. We appreciate the support. Like, I don't want you to feel like we do not appreciate your support, because we appreciate your support. But at the same time, man, we need to be fair and offer the community, like, if you're winning multiple times and no one else has a chance to win products, it just takes away from everybody else. They don't want to be a part of it. And so if you want us to continue these giveaways, just do us a favor. Don't complain if you won multiple times and we don't add you for a 3rd or 4th or 5th time. That's my rant.
There we go. You heard the man. 1 win per month.
No, 2. You get 2 within 30 days, man. Like,
That's
But
not bad at all, bro.
no, that's a lot, man. That's a lot. So I'm gonna go in here and add everybody, man. I want to make sure that everybody that says it that they want to get a part of this, that they get added to it. So I'm gonna start adding people to the wheel right
Yeah, go
now,
ahead.
and we'll hopefully we get Fred on here shortly.
Yeah, I just messaged on the Facebook page, so let's see. Other than that, anybody, like I said, if you have any questions, it's your first time tuning in, you see the question mark at the bottom, tap that, enter your question in there. It makes it easier for me to find when it's time to answer the questions, because we try to answer every single question we can with the best of our ability. So,
And
with
this
that
this
being
month's
said,
this month's theme, Zach, is giving your dog a job.
a job, a
What do y'all
job,
do
just
as
like
far as
Craig's
getting your
dad
dogs a
said.
job? Yeah, is your dog
Yeah,
unemployed
let's
or does
get
your
some
dog have a
comments
job?
going.
Because there's a lot of benefits.
Yeah,
If you guys
it can be simple
actually
stuff. I
add a
mean,
comment, I'll add you an additional name to the wheel.
yep. What are we giving away today?
Man, we're giving away Muscle Bully products. There's some True Beast toppers and some camo leashes and collars.
Mm,
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff.
I like the collars and the leashes, man. I'm a big fan of the
Yeah,
frog. Was it frog clip? It just makes it so convenient and
yeah.
easy. I ain't gonna lie. At first, when I first got it, I was like, how? And I finally like you got finesse the little clip and get the hang of it because you want to try to do it with one hand. So, but I finally figured it out. Got it. It's tight. I like it.
I can do it with one hand and one eye.
I'm so sick of this. Oh my god. Yeah, man. Where's he at, man? Where's the dude at?
Man, he's on the West Coast. I wonder if he got his time mixed up.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been saying Central Standard Time.
He's probably looking for his earbuds.
I was like, bro, I don't know why I said that. And I almost posted the picture of the movie. You know, Disney had that one movie, Air Bud, the little dog that played basketball.
There was some controversy. What's your thoughts on the controversy of the mermaid?
Man, I try not to get into all that, bro, but it's just times change, bro. Like just like Chris said about the dogs, you gotta evolve with times, man. You gotta make everybody feel involved. You gotta make everybody feel appreciated. It's I don't
Say it.
I feel like any movie that they remake, it has like it's hard to remake an old classic and make justice of it. Like no matter what the controversy behind it is, like just the fact that the original will always be the original to me. Like it's hard to beat that. So that's one thing. That's one way I look at it, but it don't bother me, bro. Like people just
Yeah.
they take it to the extreme, man. But like I said, you gotta just look at it from a positive outlook.
Right
Everybody's
now,
got to
man.
be involved.
Yeah, right now, honest question though. Honest, right now, if there's 2 or 3 dogs in the community that are really killing it, out of those 2, what are the top 2 or 3 dogs, Zach, that you feel are highly overrated in the community?
Overrated?
Yeah, like they're just overrated, but they're just hyped up.
I feel like you try to trap me every week with some type of question. I really, he tests me every week. He's like, am I going to make him come out with it? Nah. Oh, man. I don't know. I'm sure they're out there. I'm sure they're out there. I'm sure
Honestly,
they
no,
are.
real talk. What do you think? This is just a universal question. What do you think is a flaw that should be fixed in the American Bully, but a lot of people kind of like sweep it underneath the rug? A common flaw. This doesn't have to do with any dogs, but just dogs in general. Like, what do you think is like the number one thing that we could improve in the American Bully community that is just, it's kind of overlooked a little bit?
Everybody always says the rear, but
Yeah.
I think it's the stifles. Like, because remember one time we was at the show, how I was like breaking it down to you to where it's kind of like geometry. If it's stiff and it's straight, then it's gonna make the rear seem like it's higher than it naturally is because it's so. I feel like if we focus more on angulation and the stifle, the turn and stifle and all that, then we'll be better off in the rear because right now, I mean, it all comes from hip placement and all that too, but You can look at a dog and he can have a really, really nice rear. Like as far as like thigh and muscle and bone, it'd be a really nice rear, but the stifle's so stiff that when he's naturally standing, unless you break it, it makes it seem like the dog's got sway back, high rear. And then people instantly say, "Oh,
Explain to the audience what stifle really is. Like stifle is, a complex description
it's
of.
so it's like the knee of the dog. It's the turn from like where the foot comes and the hip, you know. So
Yeah.
it's that angle right there. And if you don't have enough angle, if it's just straight, it's almost like walking with no knees. As a human,
Mm.
like if you didn't have knees to bend, you would just like like you're stiff.
And
So
that's one thing that I really respect about Fred and Dooley. He really takes an in-depth dive into that. And what stifle is like, that's really important. Like he was even talking about like towards the end of the rear when he looks above a dog in a breeding, when he puts two dogs together, he actually looks how the end of the spine works prior to hitting the tail. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like
because that
it's really in depth.
yeah, it plays a big part. Like I said, like it all goes back to hip placement. I would imagine as far as you got to start from the base. You can't build a house without a foundation. So the spine, the hip, where it all joins, if it's not set right, if it's turned the wrong way, it can alter hip place. I mean, not you'll get a bad tail placement from hip placement or short spine or all of it. So it's vital, man. That's why I'm glad we're bringing him on because he's very, very big on selective breeding. And like you
Hmm.
said, I think he goes over and above the standard to keep it true to what it really is.
Yeah. Go ahead and let everybody show. This is everybody who's in the contest right now. Let me go ahead and turn this around. If I haven't added you, just say add me. I got you. Hood, affiliate, bullies. I got you. Yeah, I just recently watched Pinocchio, and I was just like, man, it's just kind of weird right now. Disney's kind of, they've got these subliminal
Yeah,
messages inside these every
yeah,
show.
yeah,
All right,
yeah.
let me start adding people, man. I'm getting a bunch of people right now.
So as far as what's one breed that you feel like X Dog? What's one breed that you don't have right now that you would like to have on the roster as far as somebody that's
One breed.
yeah.
It's
So like
kind
I
of
know I
it's kind of a really tough question for me because me and Steven had talked about this today because we're adding that lead generator, and we're like we wanted to put everybody all the breeds, and there was like I think 197 breeds that are registered in AKC. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it said 197. And I was like, yeah, but you got to keep in mind, and these aren't breeds, but for example, the Labradoodle is pretty freaking popular. You know what I mean? And that's not
yeah.
going to be recognized by the American Kennel Club. So there's a lot of breeds that are not recognized by the American Kennel Club, but alone, I think there was like 197, and just in there. And so
Yep.
we have a lot of breeds, man. Like there's a lot of different breeds that we have. Honestly, that
American Kennel Club, founded in 1884, maintains the largest registry of purebred dogs in the world and currently registers 197 breeds representing a wide
boom,
variety of sizes, colors, coats,
yeah,
temperaments, and heritages. Good call.
yeah. And there's a lot of breeds. I mean, there's so many designer dogs out there right now. We'll take them all, all
Yeah,
the
yeah,
rescues,
no.
all the mixed breeds. Like we'll take them all. Like
Yeah, that's
it's
just so anybody tuned in, anybody watching, man. If you don't have a bully, if you don't have a designer dog, if you don't have the breeds that we talk about, still reach out to X Dog because we have products that will still help any breed. Dogs are dogs. We're here for them all. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, I think he might have got his time switched up. I wonder how far of a time change it is where he is. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, man, y'all got some questions? Oh, we got some questions popping up. Let me see what we got here. Can stiff stifles be fixed? Mm, I mean, it can be fixed from a breeding standpoint. Generations. You start bringing it to a better dog with better angulation. But on the dog itself, it's a tough one.
All right, sorry about that.
No, you good? I'm just answering some. Oh, I think.
Muscle, fitness, and performance. So let's talk about giving your dog a job, muscle, fitness, and performance. So on the muscle side, right, when you give your dog a job, and giving your dog a job could be daily exercise. It could be whatever. Understanding your dog's genetics. Like for example, if you have a retriever, you want to do things that retrievers do. Um, Providing them a job. You have a shepherd or a herding type breed. You want to make sure that those dogs are doing some type of herding if possible, if you have access to capabilities. But when it comes to the importance on the pillar of muscle, fitness, and performance is that when you give your dog a job on the muscle side, you're going to have a better conditioned dog. I mean, I truly believe that, Zach. And having a better conditioned dog is going to, there's so many other health benefits when we talk about the next pillar, which is health, wellness, and longevity, right? So giving your
Mm-hmm.
dog a job, you have a better conditioned dog, which is going to therefore extend or improve the dog's joint, extend the health and longevity of those joints. Um, when you talk about mental health, it's going to help a lot of the behavior issues that you may have with the dog. Maybe you have a dog that's destructive around the house, excessive barking, digging, tearing shit up, period. Like it's just truly important when it comes to that. And when you talk about the performance side and the health side, you're talking about when you give your dog a job that you can slow down the aging process of living cells. You can and when people think about performance, they think about jumping further, running faster, jumping higher, pulling more weight, getting stronger. But I also think that it all falls in the line of internal performance as well, making sure that their digestive system is optimized, that their heart health is improved, that they're lowering the risk of health-related diseases. I think giving your dog a job is just a pivotal thing. And I think one of the things that we run into is when you talk about the American Bully is more like a companion breed. And so they're more of a chill, laid back type breed in most cases, right? Like not all
Yeah.
cases, but in most cases. And so when you're talking about, having a dog that is a companion type dog, there's a lot of challenges in getting them to exercise and so that they can receive the benefits of having that job. I'd love to hear your insight on that.
No, I mean you're really right. I got some dogs that would care less if we go outside, chase a ball, chase a square. It doesn't matter. They don't care. They just want to chill, be on the couch. Um, but that's why I love the vest because it impacts it's such a good workout in such a short time. I don't have to overdo them. I don't have to exaggerate the workout with them. The ones that don't want to do it, I can get out there and boom, bam, bing, get it over with, and they love it. Now they like it's positive object association. Now, like you said, now every time they see the vest, they have a little more drive. It kind of gives them a job in a sense, like a something to look forward to at the day. Oh,
Yeah.
we get to go outside, even though, like I said, they don't have all the drive in the world. They still know that we're gonna go out here, we're gonna run around for a little bit, we're gonna come back in, we're gonna get a treat, we're gonna get praise, and they're gonna get that workout in a shorter amount of time. And that's the thing that a lot of people got to understand too with the bullies. You don't have to push them. An hour workout with a bully is pushing it. Even the best shaped, classic bullies, you're still pushing it. I break it
Yeah.
down. If I'm working them hard, like if I'm trying to get better results as far as muscle and gait work and all that, I'll do 2 times a day, but it'll only be 15, 20, maybe 30 minutes tops on both sessions. I mean, sessions. How you say that word? Why did I say that word so weird? Sessions.
Sessions.
Yeah,
Yeah. I thought
like,
you said it fine.
yeah, I don't know. But the sense of a job, for one, it gives them something to look forward to every day. Uh, the chewing on random stuff in the house, the bumping heads with other dogs over stupid random stuff, like all that energy is lower now because they have a job. I give them they know at a certain point, we're gonna go out here, we're gonna get this workout in, we're gonna do this. And then the being on a schedule, them knowing, okay, we're eating at this time, we're working out at this time. Like, not only does it benefit them, like you said, internally, it also mentally, in my mind, it makes them smarter too when you start working them and giving them more and more to do. They start
Yeah.
understanding more. They relate to you better. Their response to certain things is better. So working them and giving them a job, I feel, also makes them smarter in a sense.
Well, it lowers depression, improves mental acuity. It's just like anything else. When you're giving your dog, and that's another thing. Like when you give your dog certain tasks, like problem-solving tasks. Like again, like my Cocker Spaniel, I hide shit, I hide different treats all throughout the building, and I put her on a 30-foot lead, and I let her just do her thing. She's a nose dog, and she goes around and she does her little searching, and she gets rewarded.
Yeah.
I have the vest on her; it's at 10%. And by the time we're done within that 20-30 minute session throughout the whole, like I got a 10,000 square foot warehouse, I hide shit everywhere. She gets in her mode and she just starts looking for these green buffalo type treats and these little pieces of dog food everywhere. And I put them in different locations, but that mental stimulation exhausts
Mm-hmm.
the shit out of her. And they say a lot of times that mental stimulation can exhaust a dog more than physical stimulation, which is to argue. Like, I don't believe that. I mean, when you test the heart rate and you test the calories burned and the physic, like a dog doing, for example, a dog doing task type complex workouts, like puzzles and quizzes and shit,
Yeah.
they're not going to be better conditioned. You know what I'm saying? They're
Yeah.
not going to,
Yeah. Yeah.
they're not going to be higher conditioned, but it can mentally exhaust them. And that's a lot of where the behavior issues arrive, is that they're not mentally being challenged. And so you're right. It does make them smarter, and it does make them just more mentally satisfied.
Yeah. I'm gonna start running through some of these questions. On the topic of heart health, what is your take on a grain-free diet from
Okay,
Nelly
so this
Watts?
is what I know. All right, this is what I know. I know that grain-free diets are for dogs. I know that when grain-free blew up and grain-free started to become a big pillar in the food industry, that companies, the big box companies, paid veterinarians to do a study to say grain-free is linked back to heart health issues. And you can manipulate any study. And the reason why they did that, and I know this because I'm inside when it comes to the dog food industry, and this is a common thing, but dog food people can't say this because the big boys run shit, right? And so relationships are everything. Making sure that you're on shelves is important. So they got to take that L on the chin, right? The truth is, if you put your dog on a raw diet with no grains, your dog's heart's going to be fucking dramatically improved. Because when you talk about like certain muscle meats, like beef heart, for example, and stuff that's high in taurine, that's what veterinarians suggest supplementing to dogs who may suffer from DCM or heart issues to strengthen the heart. Is they say supplement with taurine. Well, grains don't have taurine in it, so explain that. And so when you're talking about billions of dollars being affected and top line being affected, I say go all in on grain free. And I just, there's not enough evidence to me on a personal level to say that a non-grain free diet is better for your dog's health. In fact,
Yeah,
I think
because
it's worse.
I just Googled it. Google says grain-free food may be appropriate if a dog has a grain allergy, if a vet recommends it. However, the diet comes with serious health risk. And then like you
It
said,
does.
they, they just want you to,
let me let
they
me
don't
let me
want you.
ask you, Zach. Put a bowl of fucking go get you a can of corn, go get you a fucking can of peas, go get the freshest peas, the freshest corn, all the fucking freshest grains you want possible. Put it on the floor, put it in a bowl, and then go put some fucking organ meat and meat on the floor for your dog and see what they're gonna go eat. And then go do blood work on every single dog. Do it for 30 days, go do blood work on every single dog. And then when you
Yeah.
convince me that your dog's gonna eat a can of corn and eat peas and shit like that, that it's gonna prove itself, it it's bullshit. It's a money scamming. It's a money scam test that they did as a clinical study. It's a bullshit study. And if I die tomorrow, it's you know why.
Yeah. What The dog family says, what would you suggest to a dog to go about helping a dog who is stranger danger response?
Ooh.
So you meaning like
Bravado,
you know,
stranger danger.
yeah, it like I told you, like when I came, it he's standoffish until he gets that trust, and that's what a lot of people don't understand, especially in public. For instance, you're taking your dog somewhere, and people's natural reaction is to want to come up and be like, "Oh, your dog's so cute. You're so can I touch it?" And your dog doesn't know this person. It doesn't trust this person. So of course he's
Yeah.
gonna be like, "Whoa, you know."
Yeah.
The best thing, the only thing to fix it is to desensitize and socialize it from a very young age. It's possible with older dogs, but it just takes longer.
I just tell people, man, and based on my personal experience, is that I try to take that time to educate individuals before they come with my dog. I let them know. I said, listen, you're going to get offended if you try to pet my dog because he's going to be really standoffish. So what you can do is come shake my hand. Don't make no eye contact with my dog, and just sit there and let him investigate you. Don't try to invest. Don't try to get in his
Yeah.
space. Let him invade your space if he chooses to. If not, don't be
Oh,
offended because
is this
he
our guy?
ain't.
Oh, here he goes. Boom. Is it coming? I hit the button. There we go.
What's
Boom.
up,
What
my
up?
man?
What's
You
up? Hey, my
you
bad. I think I mixed up times, dude.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. We was just talking about that.
I was like, he must be grooming his beard.
Oh, I know. I was just like, oh, good, man. Good to see
I'm
you guys,
jealous,
man.
man.
Thanks for having me on.
No, man, we're
Man,
excited, man. We've been virtually stroking you off while you haven't been on here. So just so you know, if everybody's like hitting you up, it's because of us. I
Well, I
couldn't get Zach
appreciate
off
it.
your balls.
man.
You guys. Oh, my gosh.
But so what's up, man? So how's this year going? You out there showing Dooley?
You know what I have, man? We have, and fortunate to be able to maintain the number 2 spot right now.
Yeah,
The you know, I'm good with being there. You know, the campaign that that Zero and Hannah and the team over there are doing, man, it's so crazy. And it's going to be iconic, you know.
yeah,
So it's hard to compete with something. It's hard to compete with something like that, you know, for somebody who shows their dog 4 or 5 times a year. You know, I got a lot of stuff going, so it's hard to get out there as much as I can. But we're fortunate. I actually missed out on the Vegas show this last weekend. I was really trying to get out there, and you know, I held back. It was a really tough call for me to stay home. But I felt like it was in the best interest of the dog to stay home.
yeah,
Um, he had had a couple breedings a while, maybe 2-3 weeks ago, and he just showed me a couple of spots like in his coat, and I'm like, it's not really normal. And I mean, I've said it 1,000 times before. The dog doesn't really travel well. We were in a car accident together right before we started his campaign, and so he doesn't really fare well in the car. He doesn't like to travel. And if I was going to go by myself, it would have been bad. He'd been in the back seat by himself instead of like, he
mm,
does good with my oldest son. He does better in the
yeah,
car, but it would have been just me and him. And then to take him out there if he had something underlying and, you know, to stress him out and bring him home and maybe get sick, you know, and risk my
yeah.
other dogs and stuff. I just thought it was a better call to keep him home this time. And I figure we'll figure out what's going on with them and regroup and hit San Diego next month, God willing.
Yeah, I was telling Zach and I was telling the audience prior before you get on here is that one of your strongest attributes that I've noticed about you is that you care about the quality of life that a dog has and the well being of their life. It's something that I admire about you.
Thank you, man. Thank you. You know, I didn't always see things that way. I think it took a few experiences and a couple of lumps for me to really change that. And there was like, I remember it was a pivotal moment when I lost a dog unexpectedly on my
Mm,
yard. I had a bunch of dogs, like 7, 8 dogs, and granted, the majority of them everybody got along good, but I had 2 boys that didn't see eye to eye. So one of them was like a day
yeah,
shift, the other one was a night shift. You know, they didn't fence fight or anything, so it made it pretty cool. But you know, I lost a dog suddenly. I was trying to campaign the dog for Grand. He had already had a
yeah,
champion win, and I lost him suddenly. And then it was like, man, like that's all I got. Like, oh, I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have done that with them. I wish I would have spent more of this. And I just never wanted to feel that feeling again. It felt so bad, man. So
yeah,
I co-owned a lot of dogs out. I kind of moved everybody and spent the most time I could with the old man, with Saki, before he passed. And I bred Dully knowing Saki was getting older, and we had to have that kind of passing of the torch, thing going on. So, but yeah, man, the quality of life is definitely important for my dogs. I was just talking to my aunt on the phone, and I was like, I almost brought this puppy home, and I don't want a dog in a kennel. Like, I don't want to have a dog in a kennel. I've had dogs in kennels, and no, I don't want people to take it the wrong way. It's just like my preference, my style, and like what I want. And from my experience, like, I want to enjoy my dog on my couch. I want to enjoy my dog like running around my yard. I can't enjoy my dogs when they're sitting in 5x10s. I don't enjoy them that way. And some people can, and no knock on them. It's just for me and my family, and for us and my experiences. I just really love the dogs. And if one dog is outside of the crate or outside of the kennel and looking at the other dog inside the kennel, and the dog inside the kennel is barking and he's telling you, bro, like, he's telling you, I want to do what he's doing, and he's crying, bro, like, it irks me, dude. Like, it irks me. You know what I mean? So I'm soft.
No, that's
I'm
yeah.
soft on them, you know what I mean?
I don't blame you.
Them,
My dogs free roam like that. I keep them kind of sectioned. Like, I keep the females kind of away from the males just because they like to do that type of thing. But for the most part, they sleep in crates at night. But throughout the day, I just let them be.
Yeah. My boy, well, he got up to say hi to his mom, but he's right here. He's laid down.
So let's go back.
He's always with me.
Let's go back 15, 20 years ago. You decide you want to start messing with the American Bully. First of all, what made you get into the Bully? And second of all, what made you go the further step into where you're at now?
I'm going to grab some.
Okay.
Yeah. What made me get into them, at the time I was starting a family. I just getting married and starting to have kids and stuff, and I wanted the best dogs for my kids and for my family. And I was always into the bully type dog, like the bulldogs and different types of bulldogs, pit bulls. I was raised around them, like most of us were. You know what I mean? Those dogs in the hood, and that's what basically like got me into it and got me going. Was like I've always even in my teen years, like I was bringing dogs home. My mom saying, "You can't keep that dog,"
Yeah.
And my mom was. They were a taboo back in the day. Like, nobody wanted you to own a pit bull, especially if you're a crazy teenager. And I understand now why, but at the time,
looking back,
I might not have. But now looking back, I'm like, that was probably a good idea, Mom. But that was I always wanted dogs, and I just wanted a versatile dog. I'm an active dude. I'm always doing something. So I felt like the breed fit. It was good and good for what I wanted. So I started doing that and got heavy into like the obedience stuff. And I was into big dogs, like the double XL, like terrier type, like big pit bull type dogs before. And I ran into a couple health issues, even with tested parents, ran into some health issues. So, and then I was around another crowd when I moved to Texas too, while it happened. So it was kind of that transition where I went from like the big dogs to kind of the show dogs. I did a lot of obedience stuff, and shout out to Pancho Livas, my buddy at Basin Bullies. He told me, "Hey Fred, if you can train the dogs to do that, you can train them to show. Why don't you come to the show?" And so that's when that was that pivotal conversation that if he would have brought that up, I wouldn't be here right now probably.
Yeah.
But that's when I got into it. Showing the show side of it and the confirmation side, and it's like opening a can of worms with me because I'm creative naturally. I like to paint and build and things like that. So,
you do the leather work too.
Yeah,
I seen you do the leather.
I was on it right before I was calling you guys.
and I noticed something about you that really stood out is that not only is your dog, like you don't just show your dog, but you are a showman yourself. You almost turn in, like you transform into this completely different character. I mean, when he had nationals, I was like, "Oh shit, there's Fred." Everywhere he looks like he's walking slow motion.
And not only did he look like that, though, like his dog Dooley had on the same outfit, bro. Like I never met him personally, and I just kept telling my old lady, I was like, "Man, there's this dog walking around with this dude, and they're matching." She was like, "What?" I was like, "He got a suit on, the dog got a suit on." Like, it's fucking fire, bro.
You know what, man? It really is. Stan, it's not a different person. That's just me, man. That's me. Yeah. What you see is what you get right here. What you see from me right here is the same you see in front of my pastor, in front of my mama, my grandmama, like in front of my kids. I'm the same dude. You know what I mean? And I do like to kind of I like to have fun. You know what I'm saying? I like to have fun, and that kind of stuff at the nationals, man. I was so nervous. I'd never really been on the big stage like that, in the Grand Ham class and nationals, in the top 10. Like it's all fresh to me. Even though I've been in the breed for a long time, like this is fresh to me, So I was doing everything I could just to have fun, I wanted to make the most of it.
Let's go back. So
Yeah.
you've been in this game for how long?
Yeah, like 03, 04, something like
So
that.
over 2 decades, close to
Yeah.
2 decades, and being on a national stage is fresh to you. Kind of explain to people how hard it is and challenging it is to get to a stage like that.
A lot of years, a lot of tears, a lot of hard work, a lot of disappointment, a lot of setbacks,
Yeah,
and a lot of nuts, dude, to keep going.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
um,
Now, yeah,
a
we
lot of
talk about those setbacks. Like, I think entrepreneurs, people in life, we deal with all types of setbacks, and it's the difference between growing some balls, right, and having a sack on you to go through it. That's what separates getting to the where you just got, compared to those who will never even entertain that moment.
yeah. I'm willing to get punched in the face a few times to get in there where I'm supposed to be, and I know I belong. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
that's just the difference, man. I really have a passion for it. I really love it, and I'm willing to take lumps for it. And I understand, like I understood even when I started that it was going to be a process. You know what I'm saying? And I had faith that all those things that were like cool, like the big gold trophies, all the messages in the messenger, all the emails, all the requests for stud contracts, all these. I felt like I had faith that they would come. I said, I just need the dogs will do it. Like if I have the dogs, everything else will come. So I never focused on anything else but having dogs and doing the best by the dogs and breeding what I knew was like ethical and moral and doing those things. And I felt like all the other things would come. And those things weren't really important to me, and in that having the dog was like the creating of the animal and bringing something that I built and that really nobody could take away from me was like was the highlight, you know what I'm saying? And the pride of being able to pass something to my kids or to my, you know what I mean? That nobody can take. It's something we built and we put a lot of pride into, we put a lot of effort into, and like I said, nobody could take it. And in that process, man, I just fell in love with the dogs even more so, man. And everything else is just kind of icing on the cake. And I don't know. I guess the difficult part really, man, is meeting other people's, I guess, expectations or the community's expectations, because they see you online and they see you as this person that's smiling, having a good time with dogs, and like you want to give everybody a good experience, you want to say, hey, this is what you know what I'm saying, when they show things like that. And I'm nowhere near a celebrity, right? Like by any stretch of the word, like I'm no celebrity, I'm nobody famous. But when I go places, people recognize me and I see the faces, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like light up. Oh my God, it's Fred. Like, ooh. And I'm like, I'm so flattered and humbled by those reactions, man, that I feel like I just want to do everything I can to give them a good experience and to smile and to be able to be in a position to set a good example, I feel like, and do my best to set a good example for not just myself and my kids, but for the breed, for the dogs, and just keep it classy, keep it bully. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I 100% agree. Like,
Yeah, I think that was going to be one of my questions. How do you feel you were able to stay relevant so long? But you kind of just answered it in a nutshell by basically just focusing on the dogs itself. Like nothing outside of that, nothing more to it. Just simple humbleness of, hey, I'm trying to create the best dog I can for myself and sticking to what I know is the standard, and everything else will fall in place.
Yeah, reverence, man. I use that word a lot. Reverence for the breed. It's respect for something that's bigger than us, bigger than me, bigger than my yard, bigger than my dog, something that's going to be here after I'm gone, God willing. You know what I mean?
How do you
And I
feel
just
about the
have a
standard
reverence for
now?
that, man.
Do you feel like the standard's changing?
No, I don't feel like the standard's changing. I feel like the dogs, I feel like people are pushing the lines and pushing the limits. You know what I mean? In the standard, I like it. I like the way it describes the dog. I mean, I have when I breed to the standard. I like the standard. You know what I'm saying? I feel like if we're gonna, and I don't want this to get taken out of context, but like if we're going to say like do away with classic, like people say, or we're gonna do away with extreme, then we need to stop and say, okay, this is where it's too much. You know what I mean? And have a line and say, this is where it's too much. Just like if they say a classic dog lacks, well, where's a dog too much? There's got to be a middle ground, right? But there's got to be a top and a bottom too. And I feel like in some cases, Not all, because the dogs that are out right now and that are big dogs, they're moving and they can move well. They're very, very agile, versatile, able-bodied, and capable. I don't like to say functional because, um, a car can get you down the street with square tires, bro, but it's not. Like, bro, you know what I mean? And they'll call it functional, you know what I'm saying? But it'll get you up the street, but it ain't gonna do well. So I don't like to say functional. I just like to say able-bodied and capable. You know what I mean? It's athletic, and they have the reach and the drive that they're supposed to have. And I feel like we're getting to a point where that's about it. Because if we go any
Do
further,
you feel if it pushes it too much, it'll be
I think
detrimental?
Yes, and I think a lot of the people that are here in the breed right now haven't been here long enough to own an 8, 9, 10-year-old dog and see the effects, the long-term effects of keeping a 19, 18-inch, 110-pound dog. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I've owned one. I've seen him grow from a puppy all the way till he was 12 years old and past, man. And I don't want a dog to look 10 when he's 7. Because he peaked at 3 and that was a wrap.
Yeah.
So that's what I want to focus on, is dogs that can have a high quality of life and longevity.
Yes.
And that's what I think if we're not careful and we have inexperienced folks, I'm not even saying uneducated, I'm saying inexperienced. It's just, there's nothing wrong with being inexperienced. You know what I'm saying? We haven't been, the breed's not old, you know what I'm saying? So I'm not trying to talk bad on nobody or down nobody. I'm just saying, like, I think if the people that are on top or in charge here and running the show, if we don't put a cap on what's too much and what can be detrimental in the long term, then it will be. You know what I'm saying? So we have to just draw a line, I feel like, right now with the standard and saying, okay, this is too much and this is okay. Like, we got to work in here, and over this is too much. Just like a classic dog is underdone for the standard class, like an extreme and overly extreme dog should be docked as well, where a lot of the judges now are overlooking faults because the dog is bullier, not thinking about the long-term effects of it. And the judging is what affects the breed and what steers the direction of breeds, not breeders.
Very, very.
Yeah. And when you talk about the standard, when we look at a dog like Dully, you really ride that thin line between XL and, him being an XL or not. Like, explain to the audience, how you were able to tote that line and make the decision, I'm going to show Dully as an XL. When you naturally look at it, I look at him, honestly, if I'm being honest, I'm like, I'm not quite sure if he's an XL or not. That's just from a non-educated, standard person.
Yeah, it was it's always a funny thing to me because I don't breed XL dogs. I've owned an XL Grand Champion in the past. I like my dogs from 19 to 21-ish. You know what I mean?
Because Zach hates XLs.
What's that? Zach hates XLs.
I don't hate XLs. I just think it's too much dogs.
And that's me too. That's me too. Like I've had big 100.
Oh, he cut out. There he goes.
I'm reading his lips.
We get a little taller, we get a little longer. It's just what it is, It's just what it is.
The first time I seen Dully was at Nationals.
Yeah, God, Dully's just one of those dogs, man. Like,
if all XLs was the issue I have with the XLs, like I said, is too much dog as far as back length. Height is getting insane. It's just too sloppy of a movement for me. Like, it's just it's almost like a roller coaster. It's just nothing is tight.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
So when I seen Dully, me and David Martinez were standing side by side, and I seen you out there pre-warming up when nobody was in the ring. And I was like, damn, that dog's nice. I was like, he got to be a standard, huh? And David was like, no. He's like, that's Dully. He's an XL. And I was like, for real? He's like, yeah, man, he's right there at the line. And I was like, you can ask David. I said, if all XLs look like that, I might get one.
Yeah.
Thank you. And I never really shoot for, like I said, like XL. It's just the first time I showed him, I didn't plan on showing him when I showed him for the first time. I was in Las Cruces, New Mexico with my BSK family. Shout out to my BSK, my Blue Soul family. I love those folks out there. Yeah, and I was out there with them, and there was a show in Mesa, Arizona, which is halfway home for me in California. And we were having a good time, dude. We partied all week. We did a breeding. We partied all week, and they're like, you should go. And I'm like, dude, I don't even have a show lead. Jerry was like, I got one, dude. You can take them, like go. So we measured him the night before, and we measured him on the tile in Fabian's in his kitchen, and he measured just over 20. And dude, we're talking about like if he's 19 and a half and 20, like I can make the dog stand up on his tippy toes and make him taller. Yeah. If you push down with the wicket on his fur, you're going to cut half an inch. Like we're talking like, I've never claimed this dog's a big old huge dog or like you know what I mean? And when you think of XL, because of the Facebook and the Instagram and all the social media stuff, when you think of XL, you think of 150 pounds, you think of this big old hanging animal because of what social media shows us. When in reality, like the XL should look more like this, just a bigger, like, you know what I mean? And if you look at him next to like 18-inch dogs, you can clearly see that my dog is, a couple of fingers taller. You know what I'm saying? Like when you look at him from the side, I think his proportions are kind of funky. He's compact for a tall dog. Like his back is almost too short. You know what I'm saying? For how tall he is, but he's still really balanced and square. His chest is really deep, and his withers and his neck and his back is really big. So when you look at him from the side, you see like the top line and the bottom line are really far apart. So it's really hard, I think, to gauge his height based on like photos and videos. I think people just got to see him in person and say, oh, okay, that's what it is, But he never really showed as an XL, and that's why people get upset when they call him an XL, because he never showed as one. He actually got booted from the XL because we measured him in the ring the next day in Mesa, and he measured just under. But like I said, we're on even ground. The tool was a PVC pipe with Sharpie written on it for like that. So I was like, dude, and then we're in the grass in a horse stall, you know what I mean? So it's like, okay, whatever, bro. Like, I'm not here to argue. Like, if you guys want him in the standard class, I get it. I'll put him in the standard class, take the $20. I'm gonna go do my thing, And we came back and then we won. So he never really. And then the next event that we went to was was when he earned his grand in Holtville. And before I registered him, right, because we were still going to show as a class dog, in Mesa, he scored 90 points at 2 majors. And so when we went to Holtville, I knew that he was still going to be registered as a class dog. So when I walked to the registration table, I grabbed a judge and a rep, and then all the other judges were kind of mingling around the registration booth right there, right? Because there was like 4 judges that day or something. And so I asked one judge, I said, look, the last time we measured him, he was really close. We're on uneven ground. I just want you to tell me where to put him, like measure. If you can measure him again, tell me what you want to do. And the senior judge said, nope, he doesn't look like those dogs. I want him in the standard class. And I said, you're the boss. I signed him up. And then he showed, like, in the first 2 shows, there were 7 shows that weekend. The first 2 shows, he earned his champion class and earned his champion title and went in champion class, and then swept the next 5 shows champion classes to earn his grand. So he didn't really show as a standard too much, you know what I mean? And the way I see it, man, is like if they would have put him in the XL and I'm sitting here saying, no, he's an XL, measure him. I look like a cherry picker, bro. We know how, you know what I mean? Like, I'm going to look like a cherry picker, and then everybody who came with the 22 and 23-inch tall dog is going to say, why do they have him in here? I lost to a pocket, Yeah. So I'm not here to fight, bro. Just tell me where you want him, and I'll play however you want me to play. I don't make the rules, you know what I mean?
All right, so that's going to inspire my next question. For those who are trying to get in the shows, and actually showing in the show ring and stuff like that, what would be some of your key advice on how to approach a judge at that show, like to give them an understanding? Because like you didn't combat this judge. You said, you're the boss. Tell me where you need to put him. But what other advice could you give someone who's wanting to get in the show to approach a judge?
First approach with a smile. Approach humbly, because these are the experts, these are the specialists, these are the people who are put in a position to dictate the direction of our breed, right? Be friendly, smiling, and open, because some people come wanting to hear what they want to hear, and they're just not there to tell you what you want to hear. They're going to tell you what you need to know. 9 times out of 10, you know what I mean? From my experience, timing is everything. You don't want to try to talk to a judge while they're like in the ring or busy or like eating on the side trying to get it in, when they're mingling, talking, holler at them, but make sure that you're prepared to hear some things that you might not want to hear. You know what I'm saying? And chew on it, dude. Like, chew on it, because you hear people, and I guess I could say like the next would be like, don't take everything to heart. Like, nothing is black and white in these dogs, especially with a developing breed like this. I've realized that nothing is black and white, bro. Like, It's about controlling the gray here. So try to understand, try to learn, go with an open mind, and try to be understanding. You know what I mean? Try to be understanding that their job is difficult. You know, to tell somebody things that they don't want to hear, but have them walk away smiling at the same time. It's not easy, bro. Like, it's not easy, you know? So
it's I know. It's one of those things, man, where it's like, I would see people online doing a whole post on how much they complain about a judge. And I'm like, well, you just fucking hung yourself literally for any other future show. Because you don't think that these judges see these comments. You don't see,
you don't think they
know,
talk?
like,
they all do. And I learned this like through other people. I'm like, who said what? You know what I mean? Like, you know what? I just don't fraternize, bro. Like, you know what I mean? I just don't fraternize. And everybody who knows me, who's been around like me at shows, knows that I smile, I wave, I do my thing, we have a little drink, and then bam, I'm about business when I get there. You know what I mean? I'm about business. I'm gonna go do my thing, shake hands, take a little picture, and I'm out, bro. Like, I'm here to do my thing. You know what I mean? I'm out. I'm here to have a good time, have my fun. I'm not here to gossip and bullshit. Like, we're here to do it and do it. You know what I mean? I show up a clean ride, a clean dog, a clean fit, ready for action. You know what I mean?
Nah, that totally makes sense.
Yeah.
I seen you on one of your videos on YouTube, man. You were a big advocate for saying that you want to push for this breed to be in a bigger and better platform as far as shows like, you know, potentially Westminster, you know, AKC shows, UKC shows. How far as a whole do you think we are from that?
It could be a long time, man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. That's my goal too in the long run.
In the foreseeable future, I don't see it happening anytime soon.
I think you said it right on the nail, like right on the nail, Fred. It's people like, we're a few decades in on the American Bully, but it's still a young breed, man.
Yeah,
and it isn't mastered at all. Like, it's not like on a consistent level across the board. You'll see some great dogs, but a consistent level across the board, it just ain't there yet, in my opinion. But I didn't.
Do you feel like the amount of variation that we have in the breed is one of the major setbacks as far as honing into that consistency on that point?
You know what? I don't see too much variation. You know, the only variation I see is in the classic dogs, because people, I don't think, understand what it is.
Well,
it's really hard. It's really, but
from like a pocket to a XL, like you'll never see, like in other breeds, you might have like a miniature and a regular, but in the Bully, we got 4 classes. So like as far as that variation,
you know what? I don't think that's what's gonna be the setback or really holding them back. Because if we have dogs that are really like, if we have XLs that are fitting the standard, like that are bred to fit the standard, not just whatever people think that they like, I guess, like my vision, you know, like, I think that's what's going to hold them back, is the variation in look and the lack of discipline and know-how in the breeders is what's going to be slowing this down. People trying to do their own thing and make money instead of trying to make nice dogs and better examples of the breed is what's going to hold them back, and what's been holding them back. You know, and I think the XL community has a big part in that, you know, in that it's been detrimental to the breed, because you don't see it in any other, like, you don't see it in any other of the sub communities, I guess, you know. I don't see it between, like, in the pocket dogs look like the standard dogs look like the pocket dogs, and the XL dogs look like something completely different, you know. And so when you have somebody come along with a real nice dog, like oh my goodness, what's the dude's name? Tristan. Tristan.
B. Starts with a B. He's got the big XL. Yeah.
Yes, he's got that nice boy off of Otis. When the dogs start to look like that, you know what I'm saying? When and I think there's some momentum built where people are like, that's what the XL should look like, and they're starting to finally get it. But yeah, I think.
No, you're right. I mean, I've been at a show,
and because there's so many. Yeah, there's just so many doing it wrong. It's like the few people that are doing it right look like they're doing it wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The majority of people correctly breeding the XLs look like a minority to how many people are incorrectly breeding it. I mean, I've been, like I said, I've been at a show I think it was in Pensacola, and Dave Wilson was at the show. And at the end of the show, he spoke, and that was one of the things he said. Like, he addressed all the XL breeders in the building and kind of was like, I want to see a better job on the next generation of dogs. Like, he basically was kind of saying what you're saying. Like, we're going in a bad direction with the XL, and I would like to see it cleaned up. And I personally watched him say that with my own, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I like good. There's a few XLs I've seen that are super nice, but I don't like it when they're so loose and floppy. Like, they're just so like
They lose the
it,
bully, the movement, the
yeah.
muscular, the tight skin, the body fat percentage, like the head shapes, the temperament. Like, it's a different dog. And what gets me, I would say this because I feel like it's a good place to say it. What gets me is people will breed a dog that purposely does not fit or conform to the standard, doesn't look like it, doesn't act like it, and then they'll take the dog, they'll put him in an ABKC ring where it's judged against that standard, lose, and then get mad and complain about politics, and then complain, make it make sense, bro. Like, make it make
Yeah.
sense, bro. And you don't see anybody doing it but these folks, you know. So I do my best to try to help where I can, you know, and but there's so many that are Google smart, you know, Google breeders. It's like, I don't care what you read, bro. I did this 5 times and this is what happened. Like, I don't care what you read, you know, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. Like, I'm speaking from experience, and you're talking about Google. That's what might happen. Cool, bro. But I'm talking from experience, you know? So, it's difficult. Like I said, it's an uphill battle, definitely with the XL community. But I feel like it's still a long ways away. And as soon as we can pull that anchor up, and I think we'll start moving in the right direction as a whole.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
We
But
had
it's
some
gonna
winners.
take
What was
a
our
village,
winners?
though, you know. It's gonna take a lot though, you know, and I'm willing to
Yeah,
help.
sure.
I'm here, you know. I don't know everything, but I know what I know.
You know what you know.
I know what I know.
Yeah. Who was our winners? We had a couple winners. Spun
Now
the
we
wheel.
have one winner. One person wasn't in here. We had 360 West Coast. I know they're in here. They got an X Dog T-shirt, so we're gonna spin again.
Congratulations.
So, hey, we're going to open up the platform for anybody who has questions for Fred. We haven't done that tonight yet. So if you guys have questions for Fred, this is your opportunity to take advantage because you can get a wealth of knowledge from this man.
All right.
Yeah,
King
like I
Bullies
said.
of Excellence says, do you feel Dully has outproduced himself yet with any of his pups on the ground?
Ooh, this is a really good question because Dooley's my favorite dog.
Mm-hmm.
I'm biased. He's my boy. And when a dog is, how can I say, when you produce a dog of this caliber,
Mm-hmm.
how do you, I mean,
Go forward. Yeah.
how, you know, like
Yeah.
how, what, and then everybody has a different definition and kind of idea of what outproducing is. Like, does he produce something bigger? You know, like, yeah, he's produced something bigger. But it's hard to duplicate something that I feel like is like what I was shooting for. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, I couldn't have dreamt this dog like any better for me. And the only thing that I can really ask for from this dog or like really like add on is like more of what he already has. You know what I'm saying?
And not too
So
much more, just
No, I mean,
slightly
like
more.
you
yeah,
said,
that's what I'm like.
it's consistency from here forward at this point. Like you said, like if he's the perfect dog for what you're looking for or what your standard is, then what more is there to add? What more is there to reach for? Like you said, he's the perfect
Yeah, I
dog to you.
mean,
So
I think people.
trying to be consistent and replicate it.
Yeah, that's the thing too, because people don't give a rat's ass about what it took to get there. Like, dude, I did like 7, 8 breedings. Took like how many years have I been doing this, and that's how long it took me. And now that I have it, people expect me to like just cookie cut it, and it's like, no, it doesn't work like that. You know,
Yeah.
it doesn't work like
Yeah.
that. So,
So how
it's
on your breeding process? Like I was watching the video. You spoke a lot about being super selective. You're very selective breeding. How far do you go as far as being selective in your next matchup?
I mean, man, you know, as far as how selective, I guess as selective as I really need to be. You know, like I've done. I guess the way I see the program and I see the dogs, I see it a little bit different than people because when people look at their dogs, they go, okay, I want to add this, I want to add that, I want to bring this in. But I never really hear people saying, like, I want to take this out or I want to make sure that this isn't there. I want to try to isolate this and get it
Yeah.
gone. And that's what I've been doing, is saying, okay, well, I know these dogs can carry, for example, I know these dogs can carry a longer muzzle than I like, or a less of a stop than I like, or maybe some easty westy, or maybe a little roach. So if I know that runs in there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to eyeball my puppies and go, okay, this could be a possibility. So I see it in you. You have it, you're gone. You have it, you're gone. And it's a process of elimination. So I end up with the cleanest dog. And then when that prospect grows, if he didn't make it, he didn't make it, bro. Like, I'm not going to just put him back in for the sake of putting him back in. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not going to take him off the bench for the sake of doing it and just because I did it. If it takes 2 years for me to say, okay, well, the dog's 2, 3, and he just didn't make it. It's not what I want to bring back. If it's not outstanding and progressive, I'm not going to do it. Like, I'm just not going to do it. I'm not going to settle. And I never have, and I won't, bro. Like, I won't, you know? And people will say I'm a little too picky or no dog's perfect, but it's like, you have to pick and choose what's acceptable and what's not. And then on top of that, you have to think about, like, two dogs could have easty-westy feet, right? And one dog could have them at 10 degrees and one dog could have them at 35. The severity of the faults play a huge role in the decision making as well, you know. So I guess I have to be selective where I got to be selective, you know. And I'm as picky as it comes. I'm harder on my dogs than anybody. So when somebody like comes at my dog for not being perfect, I'm like, it almost offends me. Like, bitch, I saw that. I saw it. Like,
You thought I didn't know?
And it's not even I'm upset because of the dig at the dog. I think I subconsciously take it personal. Like, you didn't think I saw that? You know? Like, yeah, man. So
yeah, so there's another great question in here. 1888_bully kennel. At what age do you know that the pup is the one?
I can't really say that I could put an age on it, you know. I just know that the longer I keep them, the longer I can see stuff, you know. And there's sometimes where, like with my dog, I mean, it's not a secret. I've said it before too. Like, my wife picked Dully when he was really young, and I was like, babe, he hasn't even opened his eyes yet.
Yeah.
You know, like, he hasn't even opened his eyes yet. And she's like, I just think, you know, I think that's the one you're going to pick. And I'm like, I don't know how she does that. I guess, you know, women have they see balance and symmetry. They see things different than men do. You know what I mean? So I always take that into consideration when picking my puppies. I always listen to my wife and what she has to say. And somehow, you know, 95% of the time, you know, she's got an eye for it. And I'm I'm in accord, you know, I'm like, I see what you're seeing. And I've almost learned to see things her way, you know, and things a little bit different where, you know, the machismo, the man in me wants to be like, look at that head, you know, look at the bone. And
okay, so here's a question, Fred, that's been a common theme amongst the past 5 or 6 episodes. How much does the puppy's butthole play a role in you choosing the dog?
Dude.
Here we go.
That's so funny. Dude, that's so funny. My wife and I, we have this thing, we call it the Saki butt. Because Saki had a big old puckering butthole, like, and we see it in puppies. She's like, he's got the butt, and I'm like, I know, but it's one of those things that we notice. It's not a deciding factor, but it is one of those things that we do notice. You know, that's funny that you ask.
Now people look at it. I mean, the detail, like, it's kind of strange, but it's a detail that can give you a lot of in depth. Like, when people talk, we took a deep dive in bone, right? And like, people looked at big bone, but they didn't really understand why big bone was important. And when you actually look at and analyze, you know, musculoskeletal and why a dog would have big bone is because it's preparing itself for a future to carry much mass. And that's what you're really looking for in the bone, because you want a massive dog. Most dogs who don't have big bone are not going to have carry a lot of muscle density, you know. And so they just didn't really take a deep dive into the science behind it. All right, the Doge family. But yeah, buttholes been a common theme. I just wanted to ask an expert like yourself who has seen plenty of them as pups.
The bulliest dogs usually have a big old butthole. It's a pattern. I don't know. It's a pattern that we've seen. And guys that are older than me, and this will tell you the same thing.
Zach, I stand corrected. You're correct. You're right.
See, you should listen to me. Next question
I
from
apologize.
101 Kennels. What do you consider a producer?
Oh man. A producer to me is a dog who is going to produce his desired traits with minimal flaws.
Yo.
To me, not a bigger dog, not a smaller dog, not a more compact dog. A dog that is going to produce dogs that carry his desired traits and produce, minimal flaws. That's it for me.
There's your answer. Simplicity.
Yep.
Let's see.
What we talked about it earlier. Zach. What do you think is one of those flaws, Fred, that is kind of overlooked, but is kind of an epidemic within the bully community?
I'm sorry, say it again.
Like, what is the major flaw that you think is kind of being overlooked, but is also kind of an epidemic? It kind of gets a pass and it shouldn't get a pass in our community.
Oh, I think shoulder angulation. I think shoulder assembly, shoulder angulation, and like the rear ends. I feel like a lot of people can't see the assembly in the rear because it's overshadowed like by muscle, and people think because of the dog has a lot of muscle in his rear end that it's a good rear end, and that's just not true all the time. And that's one thing that just spreads like wildfire. When you try to explain to them, they're like, "I don't care, it's muscle." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even though the dog's peg legged, and I can probably outrun him running backwards, but it's muscle. You know what I mean? So I think that's one thing that's the rear assemblies is really it affects the dogs. You know what I mean? It affects the dogs a lot, and I see that especially in the XL community. But I mean, when you got bulldog type dogs, and then you have like terrier type dogs, it's two completely different frames. It's two completely different like skeletal, like the geometry is completely different in both of them. So when you mix the two, if you don't take the time to develop it right, it's gonna happen, And that's kind of what I was working with when I started in my program too. Not to go down the rabbit hole, but like Saki had these kind of like high set shoulders. He had like a longer upper thigh, the loaded shoulders, and he was a little more broad up front than he was in the rear. And I worked with this with another line of dogs with some edge stuff and the Manu stuff to try to combat that. You know what I'm saying? And while keeping the mass from that stuff. So it's a process. You know what I mean? It's a process. But if we take the time and we pay attention, then we can take the steps in the right direction.
Heck yeah. There's some really good questions coming in, Zach. Here's one from True Legacy Bullies. Where do the XL dogs come from that are supposed to breed these breed type dogs? That was the end of my question above.
Oh, there was another question. What did it say?
Yeah. How does the XL class progress when so many lack breed type? Where do the XL dogs come from?
Doggy heaven. The gods of dog goodness.
I mean, it's gonna take dogs with type. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna take like these bigger standard dogs to these. Like I said, it doesn't. I don't think an XL dog does not have to be 130 pounds, 140 pounds. And really, when we look at the best examples of it, none of them really have been. No, I mean.
Yeah. Do you think that dog? Do you think that dog Hulk, that was such an explosion of viral dog, played a vital part in why they're pushing for these dogs to be so big now? Because I mean, at one point, like you said, XL's back. It's almost a completely different dog as far as pheno, body type, the whole nine.
I think people are so concerned about like the side shot that they're not looking at the dog from the top, and they're not looking at the dog from the front. It's like cool if he has a flat top line, but if he's cathedral when you look at him from the front, then what good does the top line do? You know what I mean? He's got a 28-inch head. He's got a toucan Sam beak, bro. So what does that really do? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's it got? I think it's gonna take. You can't make apple juice with the bucket full of oranges. Like you have to use bully dogs to get bully dogs. If the dogs don't have muscle, how do you expect those dogs to throw muscle? If the dogs don't have tight skin, where do you expect this tight skin to come from? Like you just can't. And that's what part of being selective. Like throw the investment out the window, bro, and let's make dogs, chalk it up as an L. I think that's a big detriment too, is like people are so concerned about flipping that money and making that money that they're like, and protecting the investment, that they just breed bad dogs.
Yeah, it don't matter.
So, yeah, we got it. We got into that last week about that. You know, just like sometimes you got to take that L, man, and it is what it is. But
I've done it myself. Like I've done it, so I'm not trying to ask people to do things that I'm not willing to do myself. Like I'm game. You know, I'm with it. Things that have to be done, bro. And it sucks, but
yeah, I know.
Nobody wants to.
In business and entrepreneurship, you know, we have these things called core values, and I don't think the community has a core value. Like I think like the
Well,
register
no,
needs to have
you
core
can't
values.
have a
Doing
core
the right
value.
thing is always the right thing.
You can't when it's pay the bills and make sure the electricity's still on, or be ethical and breed a good dog. You know.
It's challenging.
So when you take that 2,500 that was maybe a come up, maybe a lick, maybe something that somebody let you borrow, like you said, when you got to get that back by any means, thinking about 10 years of a dog ain't really in the picture.
Hey, the majority of it is them not wanting to hear that tongue lashing from their wife. She's talking about, you said you were going to turn that 25 into 50. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And there they go.
One thing I have learned, a lot of the greats, a lot of the people that's been around for years, it seems to be a repetitive thing. They didn't depend on the dog money. They had an actual income, a job. You know, dogs was kind of a side thing, and it progressed to where it is now. The days of social media, I can't talk shit. I've only been messing with bullies for 4 years, you know, but I'm trying to go in a way to where I'm on track like you guys. I want to breed the ethical way. I want to make sure I'm breeding the best dogs I can. So I understand that it takes a real job, you know, to manage your life and understanding how to separate this into a business. And a lot of times, I seen an ad the other day and somebody said, there's a lot of dog men that aren't good businessmen, and there are a lot of businessmen that aren't good dog men. So that's where the problem comes from.
Yep.
You know, like you could be the smartest.
It's just like anything else. Like, here's the thing, man. They want to treat it like a business, but they don't run it like a business. And what I mean by that is, like, you complain about the price of dog food, but if you ran your business kennel like a business, all that dog food's a write-off because your dogs are marketing. And if you market your dogs, they're part of your marketing plan, which is a write-off. You can write all that shit off, but the problem is you try to get all this money underneath the table. And when you try to get all this money underneath the table, it does. You're not a legit business. You know what I'm saying? A legit business, you're going to have, it's going to be a corporation. There's so many different, like your vehicles can be write off. Your gas can be write off. Your website can be written off. Your social media ad spend can be written off. Everything can be written off, but not if you're not running it like a business, you know? And so that's where the catch-22 is. Like for me, in order to build X-Dog, I had to work 3 years in a fucking stone yard without touching any of the money. I had to go get a second job, you know what I mean? And not touch any of the fucking money and let this thing go back into being a company. And that's what I did. I worked at a stone yard for 3 years. A buddy of mine owned a stone yard here in Prosper, Texas. And that's what I did for a fucking living for 3 years. And he'd pay me underneath the table $100 a day. I'd work 7 days a week, making $700 and a week. And I didn't have to touch the money. You know what I'm saying? And I let my company grow. And that's the same thing you got to do with here. If you're going to breed dogs and you want to be great at it, you got to have another source of income, you know, like there's just, I think it gives you such a competitive advantage. I could be wrong, but I think it does.
Yeah, no. And, you know, it could be a double-edged sword too. It can hold you back because then you can't really get out to promote or show like you want to because work is holding you back. So it's one of those things where you have to find the balance, definitely. You know, and in this day, you know, and then, you know, through COVID and stuff like that, so many have just taken the entrepreneur route where they're like, what can I do in the community to make money? Not just selling dogs, but what can I do? Like, you know what I mean? How can I take advantage? You know what I'm saying? And not have to make money selling puppies like myself. I don't have litters all the time, but I sell a lot of leather. You know what I mean?
I saw this post the other day, not to
Yeah.
make fun of anybody, but it cracked me to fuck up because it triggered so many people in the community. But it was like some lady said on post, I'm not going to take no advice from some person who jacks their dog off for a living, you know? And it was like hilarious, right? Because I'm like, That's fucking hilarious. But I get it, you know. But at the same time, dude, there was so many fucking people triggered. It was like the big wigs were fucking triggered. I was like, oh shit, like.
I mean, it sounds ridiculous until you're doing it.
Yeah, I get it. You're like, yeah. It sounds ridiculous that you're doing it, but I'm like, God damn. I mean, you'd be surprised, man. Like, I mean, it's in all industries. Horse industry, equine industry, it's a big fucking deal. That if you're great at doing the switcheroo on a fucking $1 million horse, you know, it's a big fucking deal, man.
Yeah.
But it was hilarious.
Trade skills of the trade. Some people are good at it. Some people, ain't as good. You know, so I get it.
Mad CEO Bully says,
Mad. All right, you got that?
Yeah. How do you feel about Merles now and in the future, or will they ever be allowed in the ring?
I don't know. I mean, they're allowed in some rings, just not the ABKC one right now. I think that the Merles, I don't prefer it. Regard health, all the science behind it aside, like all the facts aside, like I'm not a fan of Merle dog personally. I like black dogs, I like tan dogs, I like pied dogs, and I like brindle dogs. So you can call me old school if you want, but I'm just it's not something I prefer. I think that if people can keep them healthy and breed dogs that are healthy and have a high quality of life and longevity, then they can breed them whatever color they want. What they eat don't make me shit, straight up. Like, if nobody comes looking for a Merle in my yard, so what they do and what they sell for doesn't make. Congratulations, dude. If you guys can sell healthy dogs and put them in good homes and make good money doing it, then more power to you, man. It's just not for me. It's just not something I prefer. If I liked it, I would have them. I don't.
360 West Coast Bully says, how many dogs did you have to pet home and give away before your breeding started to click?
Oh shit! Until they started to click,
until you started to get it right.
There's dogs like that in every litter. It's not I started doing it and now they're all it's that way. There's litters that I've had where I had like 9 puppies and 8 of them were like show and breeding quality, and then I've had another litter with 7 dogs that had 2. You know what I mean? So it's the only thing that we can do, I think,
is be selective.
Is pair them, right? And then if it doesn't, if the dice don't roll for us, the dice don't roll for us. There's more shame in acting like it did and putting a bad dog back into your program than there is saying, hey, it didn't hit, and walking away from it. I can't put a finger on how many dogs I've pet homed because before like 2018, 19, maybe like right before the pandemic, I didn't even sell to breeders. I wanted to create my own brand, my own name. I wanted my name and Saki to be synonymous. You know what I mean? And I didn't want to sell it to everybody and them say, oh, Saki blood this and Saki blood that, before I even turned it into what it was supposed to be. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like I said, I didn't really, I held out a lot, bro. And I heard it from my wife a lot, bro. Like, you know what I mean? What do you mean you gave 3 puppies away from the litter? You know, I'm like, oh, yeah. And then there was one litter where I gave them all away, bro, to my friends and family. And she was like, you did what? You know, and I'm like, I didn't, I like my sleep, babe. I'm sorry. I didn't know what they were going to turn into. I can't sell this dog for $3,000 if I don't know, if I'm not confident that the dog is going to do what I say it's going to do. You know what I'm saying? So I would rather give them all away to my friends and family and sit on them and then be selective and breed that one dog, have rights to all of them. You know what I mean? And breed that one dog knowing I'm breeding the best if there's a dog that's suitable. And that litter actually, Dooley's dad came out of that litter. I gave them all away. I gave 2 of them to my uncle, one of them to my uncle, and one of them to his son, my cousin. And those dogs stayed together for their whole lives. And I didn't even breed that dog till he was 5 years old, and he hasn't been bred since he.
Wow.
So a lot of them have been into pet homes, though. A lot of them have been into pet homes. And I still pet home dogs. The majority of my dogs go, like, from my litters, go into pet homes.
Well, we'll do one more giveaway, guys, and then we'll call it a night. I know you're busy, Fred, and I know Zach's got to get to his dogs and stuff too. So we'll go do one more giveaway, and we'll take one or two more questions.
Of course.
Yep. All
right. Let's see here. 101 Kennels says, what are the most consistent bloodlines to look for in XLs today?
Oh, in XLs, it's really hard. You know, that's a bad question for me because I don't
Yeah, I
follow
don't.
too much of like
Yeah, I don't either.
bloodlines. I follow dogs. You know, if I see a dog that I like, I'll follow that dog and pay attention to him. I don't pay attention to too many bloodlines because in reality, there's not a lot of XL bloodlines. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of yards and a lot of people trying to stamp like what it is, you know, but there's not a lot of real like bloodlines. But one guy that I can say that I know is OG with it. He's selective with it. He has been consistent to his look and his dogs. As long as I've known him, is Paul Hernandez from Califas Built Bullies. That's one guy in the XL community that I can say has a bloodline. He's been at it for a long time, and you can see a pedigree of his that just Califas. You know what I'm saying? All his stuff, man, and his look is consistent. So if you like that old school XL look, man, then you know, check out Paul at Califas Built Bullies.
1888 Bully Kennel says, "At what age do you know the pup is the one?" I think we kind of touched
Man,
on
I
that
didn't even
earlier.
know Dooley was. I didn't really even like Dooley. Like Dooley, I feel like he's the one. Like for me, Dooley's the one. You know, so I didn't even really feel like Dooley. I knew I had a nice dog, but until I really hit the show ring and like seen the show and got to see him around other dogs and the dogs that were competing, I didn't really know that he was the one until I got him out. You know, and even when we won our first best in show at that show in Mesa. I was like kind of in shock. Like, was that a fluke? Was that like, you know, I don't know. So the next time we went out, when I told you it was to Holtville, Blue was there, and he was the number one dog for the second year
Yeah.
in a row, like going on it, you know. And I said, man, if I can go and compete with that dog, then I got the one. You know what I mean? If I can go and compete with that dog, and if I
Yeah.
can't, then I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna chalk it up. I'm gonna breed a dog, and I'm gonna come back out. Like, you know what I mean? So that was really and I hope that's not taken the wrong way. I love David. I love Blue. I've always been a huge fan of Blue. If I'm gonna go and like try to compete with a dog, it's because I like him. You know, it's because I think he's great. And obviously
Yeah.
that dog is exceptional. And we were fortunate enough to to be able to compete and go. We kind of went back and forth all year, man. You know, last year, and like I said, we're just fortunate enough to. But I guess I didn't realize those things until I had him next to dogs that were some of the best dogs in the world.
Gotcha.
All right, one
Yep.
more question.
All right, let's see. Did I miss any? What do you consider? Will you be attending nationals with Dooley?
You know, God willing. God willing.
Yeah, that's a big thing. Like you were speaking on how he's not. I mean, I respect that a lot. The fact that he doesn't accept riding in the car like he used to, and that you don't push him. Like it's like that's a commendable thing that you're more about the health of the dog than that ribbon at the end of the day.
Yeah. I don't. I'm like, to see him in good shape, man, brings me joy. I feel like I'm doing a good job. I feel like I'm doing it right. So when it's kind of like a black Cadillac, bro, like show paint, you know, looking wet still, and then I just want to take care of it, keep it waxed, keep it garage, keep it clean, and you take a lot of pride in what you do. You know what I mean? I take a lot of pride in what I do. So to have even like, you know, nicks and cuts or things like that, like calluses and things like that on my dog, it's just an eyesore to me, and it almost stresses me. Like, oh, I'm not doing what I should be. You know what I mean? I feel like even though some things are out of our control, I just feel like I don't know, it stresses me. So I do everything I can to make sure that the dog, because he does so much for us, man, and so much for me. He really is a great companion, dude. Like I said, he's sitting right here. He's always near me. He's always next to me. He's ready to go when I tell him let's go, you know. I mean, the dog falls just short of just talking to me, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, like it's definitely, it trumps everything. The dog's well-being trumps everything. If I can't give him like a high quality of life, and I can't give him what I think he deserves, then I'm gonna be stressed trying, you know. So that's why I do things the way I do, man. Just because of my experiences, you know what I mean, and they've kind of molded the way I see the dogs and feel about the dogs, and even caused me to just love them that much more and fall in love with them again and deeper, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Fred, man, we appreciate you coming on tonight, man. You know, we're big fans, and man, we have high respect and regard for you. I'm just grateful to have you a part of our circle, man. And if there's anything that we can do for you, you know, reach out to us anytime, man. You know we're here for you any way we possibly can be.
I appreciate it,
let
brother.
these
I appreciate it.
let these people know where they can get in touch with you, man, before we get out of here.
I'm here on Instagram. It's the GrCh, the Grand Champ _ Fredito, and I'm on Facebook at Fred Duran. Like I said, we don't do too many in-house litters. I don't sell dogs. I don't do I'm not as busy as others like that, you know. So I don't do the whole website and thing like that because I can't keep up with the demand. Like, you know what I'm saying? I would never be able to keep up with it. But thank you guys for having me on. These types of things are the things that have people, you know, reaching out to me, and the reason why I don't really need that website and stuff like that too. So I appreciate you guys, you know, giving me the opportunity and giving me a platform to be able to, you know, share my experience and share my heart, man. Because like I said, these dogs, they're my heart, man. They're a big piece of me, and I love them to pieces. And anything I can do to promote them in a positive way and line them up right with positivity and good and love, you know what I mean? I'm gonna, man. So I really do appreciate you guys, you know, having me on. Thank you.
Yeah,
and
man.
then thank you guys for everything you guys do with the products, with the media, with, you know what I mean, all the education that you guys are doing, and for these dogs. I think it, you know, these dogs are really benefiting from it slowly but surely. It's just going to take a village of us to keep climbing up the hill and pushing each other, you know what I mean, and holding each other accountable to
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
thank you guys.
absolutely.
Accountability.
Thank you guys.
Yep.
Right.
Well, thank y'all tonight, man.
Yeah, man. Appreciate everybody tuning
See y'all
in.
next Monday.
Yep.
Appreciate if you
y'all.
won,
Thank
make
you,
sure
guys.
if you won on the wheel, make sure you message the X-Dog page with your shipping address and info, and we'll get them prizes to y'all, man.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Take it easy.
All right.